Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Okay, we're up.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's here yet, but yeah, we're live.
We are live. Even though on Shelby, the fucking live stream.
Why not?
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, there it is. Okay. I got it.
Sure.
I think I do. Yes. Now I do. Now it's showing up.
All right,
Yes.
cool.
I can see your happy little face on my TV screen. It's so beautiful.
Oh my god. What am I gonna do with you?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah. Just gonna wait for some people. Wait for some peoples. Yeah. Oh, before we start, funniest fucking story today.
Oh jeez.
I started bringing my H.P. Lovecraft books to work to read.
Mm-hmm.
I brought the first one I bought, the H.P. Lovecraft's Great Tales of Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Not the hardcover, like the leather bound one. I didn't bring that one. Freaking resident walks over and he's like, "Is this hentai I've been hearing about?"
What?
Because they saw there's a tentacle on the cover.
Oh my god.
And the little statue of Cthulhu on it. And I was like, oh no. He was explaining to him what it was, and he's like, I have no idea who the hell H.P. Lovecraft is. I was like, not a lot of people did when he was alive.
Wow.
But yeah, he did it to get a reaction. I know he did. He's a cool guy. I thought that was funny.
Hey, Quadex, what's up? Long time no see, man. How are you doing?
Yes, what is up, I guess.
Damn it.
Alright, should we just go ahead and get started with
a little intro?
Go ahead.
I don't really have an intro. But welcome to the Apollicast with me and Rockstar. My name's Lassalon.
And I'm Rockstar.
Good to be back with the Twitch scene and all. Good to see you back, man. It's been a while.
Yes. Welcome to our very first episode of the podcast.
Episode 1. Ironically, talking about podcasts.
Yes. So, let's start it off. Vaslin, what is a podcast in your terms? What do you believe a podcast, like the meaning of a podcast is?
What is a podcast? Like, what defines a podcast?
Well, yes, what defines a podcast in your own opinion and words?
So, in my opinion, definition, a podcast is something where someone uses an audio format like MP3 or something like that and speaks about a specific topic in a short amount of time while still giving enough information to make it worthwhile for people to listen to it. I'm not playing music anymore.
No. I'd say in my terms, it's bringing back radio, because like back in the 30s, like back in the day, radio was the main thing for entertainment and information before television.
Yeah.
So I believe certain podcasts, they're trying to bring back radio, but they're not constricted by a broadcast. For example, like Fox News. Fox News had a radio station. They can't talk about certain things, but if one of the news anchors did a podcast, they could talk about whatever they want, and they're not constricted by editors and producers saying like you can't talk about this, that kind of stuff.
It's something where anyone can do it, and anyone can talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah. Example: this podcast.
Yeah, right. Or the Fox Den, the other one I do.
Fox Den. Definitely, anybody watching, definitely check out the Fox Den, because they're what inspired this. But Because not only do podcasts have...
I need to change it. Podcasts are selective talk radio. I like that thought. Hey, Chaka, how are you doing?
I know, Chaka. Yes, I can agree with you there, Chaka.
Instead of, like Rockstar said, instead of being constrained by what the station is known to be constrained to, I mean, in that sense, the Fox Den is sort of like a radio show because it's constrained to an idea, but but it's not constrained by a producer saying you have to do this or else I'm not going to fund you because I don't have funding for that.
No, and that's the sad thing too with podcasts where, like, because out of the two of us, I listen to way more podcasts because I listen to podcasts with pretty much anything I do. Some of them don't have the funding, so they have to go to like Patreon to just like, hey, don't, or buy it. They set up T-shirt stuff, and that helps them keep it alive. Some people like us, we're just doing this for fun. It's on Twitch, it's free, it's live, because there's no like, we don't need like gigantic mics and like $500 mics or headphones and
because we're not doing professional voice acting or anything like that, or anything that requires that amount of detail.
Very true. I think also with podcasts, it's the entertainment, as I said back in the day, with like a lot of podcasts nowadays that do like storytelling ones where they take stories from the internet and like narrate it with voice actors and stuff. And they have like all that ambiance music, and they have like the sound effects, and they got the distorting voices with certain things. They're bringing back old time radio serials, like the detective stuff and the scary stuff and all that.
I think that's a good thing to bring back, actually, because it's a lost art form nowadays.
It is, but again, YouTube has a lot of voice like storytellers off YouTube, but then they start their own podcasts because YouTube's algorithm is fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
To back in the day when we were in high school, a YouTube channel that was comedic and adventurous would get paid a lot of money. But now it's any parents, and they get their children to just say, hey, Dr. Spider-Man or all that shit. Yeah. They're getting paid millions. And the people who are actually trying to entertain, they're doing it for fun, are getting fucking demonetized. Great example, GM Danielson. He's a guy I listen to on YouTube. He does scary short stories.
He was on what was that one that I was listening to that you told me to listen to?
Oh, we're gonna talk Simply Scary Pod.
That
Simply
one.
Scary.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that one. He had his channel. He was monetized. Then it was demonetized. Then they remonetized it a little while later. Then they demonetized it again, and now he's just finally, about 2 days ago, got it remonetized.
That's so stupid. Because YouTube as a whole is just dumb.
I get what they're trying to do. I'm trying to look at it at both sides. They're trying to do is parents complaining. My child's watching scary stuff. You need to not put so many ads. Okay, that's why YouTube made YouTube for kids. I mean, it's the same thing with, give you another example, pro wrestling, because I'm a big pro wrestling fan. Back in the 90s with the Attitude Era, where like there was like people drinking beer, freaking bra and panties matches and all that shit, and blood and just violence. Parents were calling in to Monday Night Raw saying, we're not letting my children watch this show anymore. Hung up, and their viewership the week after went through the roof.
YouTube is considered a safer workplace. I mean, yeah, I can see where that's coming from. But they have ads that are less than safer work. Yeah, exactly. It's all about what makes the most money. And if people are complaining, saying, "Oh, I can't have my child watching this channel," other than
they put up YouTube for kids. It's a separate app which only shows kid-friendly stuff, but sometimes stuff will slip in. It's like Netflix, the kids account they have on Netflix, where I went on it, and to put it on for my siblings, and there's freaking like Freddy versus Jason on there, and I'm like,
Really?
is this a yes? I'm not even joking.
Hey, Narok, what's up?
Hey, Narok.
Freddy versus Jason on kids Netflix.
It was literally like My Little Pony, Goldie and Bear, whatever other like shitty kid shows were out there, and then I looked over and it said there was a section horror movies, Freddy versus Jason, Jason Takes Manhattan,
Oh my god.
Hellraiser, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding
In
me?
the kids section, what the
In
hell?
the kids section of Netflix, I shit you not. I don't know if it's because my account is the dominant account, because everybody has their own account here.
It should be the kid's account is a separate profile, so it should be separate from the rest of them.
Well, mine's the dominant one.
Because I have it too on my parents' account. We let my niece watch it.
Yeah, go look at it and see if there's any like horror movies on there. I guarantee.
Them kids, they love their blood horror.
I'm not even.
If I had a voice on the podcast, I'd definitely have my 2 cents in. Well, that's what chat's for. I hate being constrained to typing.
That's what the chat's for. But we might allow
later on.
We might allow some people to like be a guest.
Yeah, but
you won't have to do anything.
First episode or two, because we're still getting in the swing of things. We just want to have it be us. But later on, we'll invite people to be guests. We'll have topics set in advance, a week in advance or so, and we'll say, hey, anyone wants to talk about this with us, come on ahead,
Yeah. We might what we could do, I'm thinking about it, is we'll probably like see who chatted, like fast look back at the highlights, get your guys' names down, we'll put a number between it and like do this like a random number generator, whichever one pulls up. We'll message like, hey, would you like to come on podcast?
I could do it as a giveaway.
Or that works too. But getting back to the topic of podcasts, so yeah, in my terms, podcast is just a way for bringing back radio entertainment in a digital form that's easy for everybody to access and download. So,
yes, Jet. Stop it.
Oh boy,
We've been planning this for a month now.
It's almost 2 months, and I've been excited all damn day. I was giddy all day. Because I had so much on my mind. I'm like, okay, what the fuck do I got to talk about today? So, I know the one podcast we're definitely going to be talking about. We're not going to say the name of it because we already said it. We're going to save that one for last.
Yeah, we're saving that. I have the trailer for that one pulled up, and I'm going to play it.
Oh, yeah, because that one we highly recommend. But so we're going to save that one to the end because we're going to lead up to that one at the end. We're going to like kind of talk and give our own personal opinions on the show and just talk about it a little bit. Before we begin with telling about what our favorite podcasts are, keep in mind they did not call us and say, oh, this podcast that's starting is going to talk about other podcasts maybe. Let's pay them a lot of money.
This podcast is not sponsored at all whatsoever.
We are just fans. We're talking about them because we listen to them. Same thing like if I was talking about like a favorite movie or favorite band or favorite actor. They're not paying to be endorsed. Yeah. We're just talking about it. But
if I ever get sponsored by anyone, I don't know what I would do with myself.
I know which one we would love to be sponsored by and have guests on the show.
That would be freaking awesome.
Because that's the reason why we started, because I talked you into that. So, since I listen to more podcasts, we're going to let you start. Just tell us about some of your podcasts you listen to and just brief summary of them.
Well, I mean, mine aren't going to be as interesting as yours.
Look, I mean,
let's be real here.
Well, go ahead and tell me some, because I'm not going to tell every single one I listen to. I'm going to try to go.
So, I know you and I listen to some of the same ones. Right. Because you recommended them to me.
Very true, because we used to work the gas station at the grocery store, and it's boring out there, so that's another reason why I listen to podcasts, but I like listening to them when playing video games, washing dishes, taking a walk, working at work, cleaning the house, even just laying around, just like listening to them because they're fun.
listen to SCP File Podcast by the Volgun. They're very old school radio stories and they paint a vivid imagery in the mind. Oh, cool, Chaka. I didn't know about that one.
I'll have to check that one out because there's one I want to also recommend to Chaka if he likes that kind of stuff. But
go for it.
Why don't you go ahead? I'll let you go first because I'm be talking in depth about them.
All right. So some of the ones I listen to that I know Rockstar doesn't, they're the more like educational ones because I'm a science guy. So, and Bill and I just came out with one called Science Rules.
I'm not
kidding.
That.
I'm not kidding.
I listened to the first episode off YouTube and I was like, holy shit, I had so many memories.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill and I's back, baby.
Bill, you remember that? Every time somebody was just like...
it's a meme now.
I know, but like, every time like we had a science class, they're like, we're going to watch a movie. Your ass knew it was either going to be some like British guy going like...
Oh, interesting. In my channel, or in my Discord server, which you're all part of, down in the bottom, there's or actually you can put it in music and audio. You could put any of the podcasts you guys recommend, just put it in there. Just put title and who does it, and that way we can find them later.
Yeah. This way, because like I need more to subscribe to.
Yeah, right.
Oh God.
So, actually, I don't even remember all of them. I have them on the Stitcher app. By the way, Stitcher app is great.
I have an iPhone, so there's a podcast app already, so that's what really got me into it.
I have an Android phone.
Yeah.
But,
so
a few of the ones I listened to, the first one I ever found before, this was back when I still had Sirius XM. One of the channels on there, they started playing Radio Lab, which is by Jad Abumrad and Robert Krulwich, and they do like investigative reporting on like these really off the wall subjects, but they do it in such a way that it like grabs you in and you just want to keep listening to it. It's great.
Well, that's the making of a good one. Because if it was just two guys talking like, we're gonna talk about the Zodiac killer. He killed a lot of people. All right, bye. You're not gonna want to tune back in. If it's like today on the True Crime Podcast, we're gonna talk about the Zodiac killer. A killer, like if they get you, because that's the main thing. You want them to be drawn in. Same thing with like movie trailers and TV trailers on commercials. You want to draw in the viewers, which is like the one trailer we're gonna be playing for our fine viewers and listeners. Because let me tell you, you guys are in for a treat.
I know, right? But
I'm just making them go like, God damn it, Rockstar, shut the fuck up.
Radio Lab's been going since I want to say like 2009 or something. They're partnered with WNYC up in New York, and they do all this investigative reporting on. Where do you want me to post that podcast in your Discord? In the music and audio channel.
Yes.
I put that for music up in the thing. It says Descript podcast too, but they do some on law, they do some on science, they do some on basically anything that, because people can write in to them and ask them questions like, I don't know some of the ones off the top of my head, but. Hope you're having a good podcast. Wish you the best. Thank you, Petite. I appreciate it. Cat, shut up.
Meow.
The cat is not even in the room.
I know. I hear.
That's how loud it is.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like when she's in the room.
No, that's not. That's a male cat.
No.
Yeah. The one cat's asleep. I don't know if you can. See, he's asleep on the little cat tower. Right there. The cat is cute.
He is. I don't like that one kitten that was clawing the back of my fucking leg.
I don't remember which one that was.
It's like a little kitten. It kept going. I didn't mind it on the lap, but when we were leaving,
Oh yeah.
it jumped on the back of my calf, and I almost shouted out, "Son of a bitch!"
Yeah.
But I was like,
That one does that.
I had to like be quiet because the rest of your house was sleeping, because I was being considerate. Okay, back to the story.
But yeah, so they have people write in questions they want answered, and they'll just answer the questions they'll travel to different countries and go meet up with people from corporations, science labs, all this stuff just to find the answers to these questions. And it's just the journeys they go on to find the answers to these seemingly random questions. It's just really good.
I have to listen to it because I do like certain like case stuff. When like, especially when it revolves like true crime, and like I'm a big history buff myself. I'm not really in. Basil knows the only really science fiction stuff I'm into is like Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm. He bought me for Christmas the entire 9th and 10th Doctor, like a set. It was
Walmart,
awesome.
$20 at Walmart.
That's where I got my little TARDIS.
It's like my little angel statue out of it from the Don't Blink. I was like, oh, it's my favorite episode. Yes.
But yeah, so that's one of mine. Oh, he muted. That's fine. So that's one of mine. Another one I've started listening to after I found Stitcher app was, have any of you seen Star Trek Next Generation?
No.
No. Fine.
No, I have.
Do you know who LeVar Burton is?
I think everybody knows LeVar Burton. He's the guy with the big, like, 80s sunglass, like, looking visor thing, right?
That was Geordi, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was his character on Next Generation. But he did Reading Rainbow back in the 90s. And he's actually now making a podcast called LeVar Burton Reads, where he just reads short stories. It is fan-freaking-tastic.
He has to do it. He has to read it while wearing the visor.
Oh my god.
He has to do it. And like the picture for his podcast has to just be like the visor with like the upturned eyebrow.
Oh my god.
And just a mic. I'm telling, like, hey, if you're watching, or if you are, you just stumble upon it, do that.
Oh my god.
All we ask for is a shout out.
But seriously, he picks really awesome short stories, and by these authors I've never even heard of, but they're all like award-winning authors.
Is it one single genre, or he does like
like genres? Anything. They're like he says this in every episode. The only thing these stories have in common is that I love them, and I hope you will too. So that's good. It's just the way he reads it. He puts emotion into it, and they're just really good.
If you don't put emotion into it, it's a stale read. It's not.
Oh, I know, but it's just his voice combined with his voice acting style is just really good. Yeah, I recommend that one.
Any other ones?
One I've recently started. It's called Household Name. It's about famous brands like McDonald's, Panera Bread, Starbucks, and how not all food related, but it's like one of them was Apple. It was all about Apple's 1984 Super Bowl commercial, how it was made, why it was made, the struggles it went through, and then eventually how it defined Apple and computing as we know it. So it was just really, those are, again, investigative reporting, but they're all centered around brands that we know. Like the one I'm listening to now is sound branding, like the Intel jingle, AT&T, McDonald's, all the sounds that we hear and that we recognize them as brands, and why that came to be and what's next for the future. So yeah, mine are more aren't all like dramas and sci-fi and horror and stuff. Don't get me wrong, they're really good,
I'm
but
just
I
imagining.
do listen to like more educational ones. Eat to Find Apple says it's basically an overpriced product with poor manufacturing. Oof. No,
Ooh,
but
shots fired.
the commercial cost $800,000 to produce.
And that was back when?
That was 1984.
So you had inflation, Jesus.
Yeah. That's a really good episode, though. Because they did some pretty weird things for that.
I really want. Yeah, we sold our actors to porn stars.
No, they hired 150 skinheads. I'm not kidding. I'm being dead serious. It's in the episode.
Apple for the KKK.
I'm being dead serious.
Oh my god, I want to see that like in 2020, just like a freaking guy walking in and he looks just like an average guy and he's just walking in and is like, "Hey, my name's Bob and I'm here to promote the new iPhone 20
so
million."
That's why their favorite color is white. Oof. Hold on, let me see if I can I gotta leave this up.
And then it's just like he's just like
that.
kind of talking about the new iPhone.
Duplicate.
Give me a second. And all of a sudden, he walks outside he's like walking through his house, and the wife's like,
"Let me find it."
And then like he goes right outside, and he's getting on a robe, like it looks like a bathrobe, and he's like, "All right, guys," puts on the hood, and it's like a burning of a cross.
Oof, big oof. Let me see if I can find it in here.
I want to imagine them doing an episode about Charmin, because I just had to watch old commercials.
No,
my job
to find it.
From like the 70s. There was always like, don't squeeze the Charmin. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like some like nerdy guy. It's in a grocery store. It's like ladies, don't squeeze the Charmin. I know it's super soft and stuff. Because I mean they're funny. I laughed at them. I'm like, are you serious? Because there's like some guy wearing like glasses and like wearing like a robe or some like a science lab coat, and he's like, don't squeeze the Charmin. He's like grabbing it. This was before they had the bears where they had like shit on their ass. I can't remember the guy's name though, but definitely check him out.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember either.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Hold on, tick. Any other podcasts?
It was like just as bad of choices when the Hells Angels were once hired as concert security. No, I know about that one. I heard about that one.
Wait, what?
Hells Angels were once hired as concert security. I don't remember what band it was for. But yeah, fun times. See another one. I know a couple that I would recommend are ones that you recommended to me. So I think we would both recommend them.
I got it.
Oh, you found it?
You know, everybody look up. It's the Charmin commercial, Mr. Whipple.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, here, I'm going to play it. Oh, wait, it's probably not going to because my phone looking for it, but hold on. No, it's only going to play it through my headset. But it's the funniest thing because it's Mr. Whipple, and he's just like, anytime there's like somebody's like, don't touch. It's like there's like housewives like grabbing the Charmin off the shelf. And it's like don't squeeze the Charmin. And like my boss knew it because it was on in the 70s, and this resident's family member knew about it, and I'm the one looking like, what? Like, the only thing I know about Charmin is about bears who have toilet paper stuck to their ass.
I mean, that's what most people would know nowadays.
True. They need to bring him back, like have him be played by another actor, Mr. Whipple. Just do one commercial and have the bears come in. It'd be awesome. Do like Charmin's like 50th anniversary. I don't fucking know. All right, I guess I'll talk about mine now. There's a lot of. So get a bowl of popcorn because there's a lot of.
I mean, I can go make popcorn.
Nah, I'm not gonna talk about every single one. I'm gonna also cluster 3 of them together.
I know we're probably gonna share a couple of them.
Very true. I guess I'll start with the ones I'm actually listening to. So right now I am listening to The Horror, which is, this goes to, who was it who said about old time
Chaka.
radios. Chaka, you might be interested in this. This is The Horror. It's part of this brand known as Relic Radio. What Relic Radio is they are a little website that they go and find old serials, like radio serials from back in the day, and they pick out the best ones. So a lot of them aren't in the best quality because they're very old, but some of them are really picture perfect. They go ranging from the mid 30s all the way up to like the late 80s, 1930s and 1980s. So I'm listening to The Horror, which is all like horror stuff. They had like ones that are hosted by Vincent Price and Peter Lorre. Some of my favorites on The Horror are anytime it's Nightfall, which is the ones that were started around the 80s. That was a Canadian broadcast. That one makes it sort of feels like Tales from the Dark Side, because like how it like starts.
Mm-hmm.
That one, The Weird Circle, does a lot of like Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. They're good. There's just a bunch of them. There's way too many to talk about because it's not always the same one. Because like one week they'll do Nightfall, and the next week they'll do like Weird Circle, and the week after they'll do CBS Mystery Radio Theater.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's good. And then going with the Relic Radio, the other two I listen to are Thrillers, which is all the detective stuff, so the cop stuff. And then I just subscribed to it. I haven't listened to it yet. It's Strange Tales. So that
Strange Tales.
Relic Radio, Strange Tales. All you have to do is if you go on any place to get a podcast, just look up Relic Radio. They have like, for any genre, they have like sci-fi. They have the like horror, mysteries, thrillers, adventure, that kind of stuff. So I do like those. So I'm listening to The Horror right now, and they're not really that long. I think the longest episode they've ever had was like 45 minutes, and they actually have old commercials from back in the day. So I was listening to one of the Thriller, and it was just a commercial for Marlboro cigarettes. And it was just like,
really?
Taste that refreshing breath, like that fresh smoke going right
my
down your
God.
lungs. And I'm like, yeah, that's dated.
You think?
But the one that really got to me, there's always like the one I always hear is just like just soak in Biotex. It's like some dish, like laundry detergent, I guess. That one, and the one that always I laugh at is the Pepsi Cola commercials, because they didn't call it Pepsi, they called it Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi Cola hits the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Dun, dun, dun. The little jingle, and it's so funny. But it's so
nice.
Nostalgic. The Vincent Price ones are amazing because I love Vincent Price. Like how, like the way he moved, and his voice could always, anytime you hear Vincent Price's voice, you automatically know it's him because he had the distinct voice, and it's so good. And that's why I have a House on a Haunted Hill from 1959 movie poster on my wall, because I love Vincent Price so much.
Yeah, he has like a whole wall of old movie posters.
Well, I got one that's kind of current. I got the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back one.
Oh yeah, that was your most recent one.
Well, I'm about to get an Avengers Endgame one.
Nice. I need to get one of those.
Amazon. And I got the frames from Walmart, but I'm gonna get them replaced. They actually have, because I got like the cheap poster frames, are like $10. They got ones that are 20, and it actually looks like a one you see in a movie theater. Because it's a bigger border. And then I want to kind of get, I wanted my friend's mom who does tattoos. I want her to like kind of see if she can like paint lights on the side to make it look like it's actually lit up, like in a marquee. Because I'm still doing this movie theater wall that I was going to do at the other house. So I'm going to slowly work on getting it done. But yeah, going back to podcasts. Keep in mind, majority of the podcasts I listen to are horror, because it is what it is, because that's what I love. That's my favorite genre.
Jay and Silent Bob Straight Back inspired your Twitch name. Oh, really? That's cool.
Wait, what?
Chaka said Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back inspired his Twitch name.
Yes. Fuck, I cannot wait for the new movie. They just finished wrapping it up. They already finished there in post-production. Jay and Silent Bob get a reboot.
Nice.
It's pretty much, he literally like was talking, Kevin Smith talked about it on YouTube. It's literally Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but they're making fun of like everything. They're making fun of sequels, reboots, and remakes.
Oh my god.
So that's what's gonna be funny.
Jay's gonna be in Raleigh in a few weeks at GalaxyCon. Oh really?
Son of a bitch! But this actually goes into the next podcast I listened to. Haven't listened to season 3 of this podcast. It's called Darkest Night. This one was curious because this was recommended because when I'm on my podcast, they will recommend other podcasts that are similar to it. Darkest Night is this podcast about this woman who works at this like high-tech company, and she works in like the morgue area with these bodies. That they have this technology that when they cut open somebody's eye, they're able to look at their final moments, and it's always like horror stuff. To the point, like the first episode was about, which turned into later. It turns out at the end of the episode, she's now the owner of the company, but these siblings, who their father just passed away, and so he's given them a present, which is a childhood toy of theirs that they used to play with when they were kids, but he's modified them to be deadly because he says the last person standing, whoever kills everybody, last man standing wins.
Nice.
To the point there was a hairbrush that instead of bristles, he replaced it with fucking nails.
What?
It's really good. It's really good. It was a croquet mallet that had fucking spikes on it. And she still has it in the show. I only listened to the first 2 seasons because by the time I finished them all, they weren't even close to getting season 3 done. Then they announced season 3 was coming out. It's already out. But Jason Mewes, who's Jay and Silent Bob, was actually in season 3. He voiced the character.
Nice.
And that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes celebrities will be on it. So Darkest Night's one I recommend if you like horror. Another one I recommend if you really like horror is, this is probably one of the longest running horror stories podcast, is called the No Sleep Podcast. This podcast has been around, I can look it up, since wait a minute. Oh, there we go. They started in 2011, and they just finished up their 12th season.
Nice.
Each season's 25 episodes. They sometimes have an in-between episode. They do a No Sleep live tour where they bring some, like the creator of the show, David Cummings, brings other voice actors on the show, like Nicole Goodnight and some other voice actors and actresses from the show, and they go all around the country. They've even been to South Carolina, and they were there 2 years ago, and I really wanted to go, but by the time I listened to it, it already happened. So I was pissed. But he put it up live on the podcast, and it was really good. That's where I listened to, like, Escape the Black Farm, The Return, Escape the Black Farm Part 2. Those were good ones. That's also the podcast I talked about in one of our Borderlands pre-sequel episodes with the tampons that had fucking spiders in it.
Yeah, that one.
I don't remember episode, but if you want to like listen to it, if you're a female, they even have a disclaimer. Please be warned, because I was listening to it and I'm like, thank God I have a dick. Thank God. Oh God, because it was like terrifying how they described it. Oh God, because she's like laying in the bed, and then this other woman's like, the spiders are coming out and they're fucking eating her alive, and I'm like, what the I think it was spiders or ants. I don't remember. It's been a very long time. It was like years ago. Because like 12 seasons, they just finished up season 12. So, 25 episodes. They have a season pass program, going back to what we talked about before about Patreon. Because David Cummings, he's from Canada, he lives in Canada, left his job. He started the podcast for fun, because I think he was a radio show host. in Canada. He left his job his full-time job, and started doing the podcast full-time. And it's hit off. At the point he's been interviewed on other podcasts, including this one might be interesting to you because I know how much of a big fan you are of this show. Who does the voice of Rick and Morty?
Oh, Justin Harmon.
He was on the show. He was on No
Nice.
Sleep Podcast because
Nice.
David Cummings was on his podcast.
Oh, Justin Roiland. The other one's Dan Harmon. I got their name.
No, Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
Dan Harmon was the one he was on. He voiced the character on one of their stories, and because the week before or whenever they posted it, David Cummings was on his podcast, and they were talking because he's a fan of the show.
Nice.
Some other actors have been on the show as well. Like there was one that was on Breaking Bad. There was a minor character from Breaking Bad was on the show because he's a huge fan. But yeah, it's one of the longest running, I think, horror serial podcasts out there. And each season kind of has a new intro and a theme. Like season 12 was like a cathedral type theme where like they had like an actual chorus singing the intro.
Nice.
And it really gets you in the mood. Then of course they do like for an episode if it's around Halloween, like stories set around Halloween, or if it's around Thanksgiving, they do like Thanksgiving ones. Like there was one about like a freaking killer turkey or something.
Killer turkey.
I might be thinking of something else, but the Christmas one there was one that was really fucked up. There was a Christmas one really, really fucked up.
Did it involve Krampus?
It didn't specifically say it was Krampus.
Rick and Morty season 4 hype, yeah, right.
Yes. This kid was sleeping and he heard like a voice like, "Hey, come here, kid." And it was like a freaking hand in the chimney, like beckoning him. And he took this kid away to like this freaking hell portal or something. And there was like other kids. There's like other kids fucking like slavery, like moving toys and shit. But he escaped and he ended up in fucking New York City on the other side of the U.S. because he's in California. And they don't know how the hell he got there. And he doesn't remember.
What?
It was one of those episodes. The one that was fucked up was they did one year. It was so funny. Like anytime they do a Christmas thing, David Cummings does like a Santa Claus voice, his own version of it. But it was really fucked up was that the other voice actors were playing as elves.
Oh, jeez.
And they were listening to the stories from this other voice actress who's being Mrs. Claus. And at the end of it, they fucking went down a slider being grinded up into fucking paste to make Santa's cookies. And I'm like, what the
Oh my god.
Because apparently the elves live out, like the elves just grow back in a farm, in a flower bed out in the back of the house, apparently.
Wow.
So, that's what it is. They're being ground up because they're so sweet and innocent into fruitcake. Yeah, that fucked up. So that's No Sleep Podcast in a whole. I highly recommend. I really highly recommend that one if you're a huge horror fanatic. One I haven't listened to in a while. We're gonna get off from horror. Talking Tunes with Rob Paulson.
I like Rob Paulson's really good.
Anybody who doesn't know who Rob Paulson is, he's a voice actor. You might know him as the voice of Yakko from
Animaniacs.
Animaniacs. He was Donatello in the original 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was Pinky and Pinky in the Brain. He was Carl Weasley and Jimmy Neutron. He was Mark Chang from Fairly Odd Parents. He's done so many voice actors. So his channel, Talking Tunes, I've shared some of the live ones with Vaseline, especially the one where they got the guy who did like Cow, Chicken, and the red guy from Cow and Chicken.
Oh yeah.
What they do is they kind of talk about voice acting because I'm big on voice acting because it's something I like. And at the end of it, they take a scene from a movie, and each of them pick a character that they voiced, and they do the dialogue in that character's voice. So there was one where it was Pinky in the Brain, and it was Brain as Hannibal Lecter and Pinky as Clarice, and it was like amazing hearing that.
Nice.
And then the one that I tagged Vaseline that always makes me laugh, it was, I think, from Die Hard. That the guy does
Which
the voice
one
of
was
Cow.
that?
That's the one from Cow and Chicken. The
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
and it was like Rob Paulson did Carl as the bad guy, and
I remember that one.
Yeah, I
I
tagged you in it because
remember
they did.
one of the ones you tagged me in, it was Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar, but I don't remember who the voices were.
It was Seth Green doing Chris as Anakin. And I don't remember Rob Paulson did Pinky as
That's it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. That one was hilarious. And they've done the one that was really good. This one wasn't meant to be funny. They got Kevin Connery, the guy who voiced Batman from like the critically acclaimed animated series to the Arkham video games.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy, I probably said wrong. They did the scene from The Dark Knight, the one with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
I remember that one.
And they did the end monologue. It was so good. It was so cool. Because I'm such a huge fan of the Batman animated series. That was like my childhood, was Batman the animated series, and it's like Spider-Man the animated series. Hearing Kevin talk in the Christian Bale voice, so when I hear like Gotham needs you. Hearing Kevin do that voice for that scene, because that scene was so emotional and it was such a great scene in that movie. Hearing him do it, it's amazing. You can even like watch that scene, put the movie in, pause it, and play that episode, and it's amazing. It's like brings back so many memories. Some I don't want to talk about because I haven't listened to them. Oh, here's another one. Fat Man Beyond.
What? I haven't heard about this one.
That's Kevin Smith's podcast. It used to be called Fat Man on top of Batman. Fat Man on top of Batman. They renamed it to Fat Man Beyond because Kevin Smith used to be called
Fat Man on top of Batman.
I think that's what it was originally. It was Fat Man. Fat Man Beyond is one of Kevin Smith's podcasts. They just talk about everything. They talk about anything on there, like mostly comic book stuff and the kind of stuff. That one's funny. The other one I told Vaseline about. I just finished it. They're still updating it, but I caught up to every episode except for 3 of them. Because they just sent 3 ones. It's called Ghoul Intentions.
I haven't started that one yet.
Ghoul Intentions, I was recommended because I'm friends on the J. Michael Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody who doesn't know, J. Michael Tatum is a voice actor. You might know his voice as Sir Hammerlock in the Borderlands series, or Sebastian Michaelis in Black Butler. He was also Scar in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, the remake of the original anime. Him and Jamie Marquis, she's a voice actress. She's done Miss Gigantic and One Punch Man. She was Liz Thompson, the older, taller sister of the Thompson sisters in Soul Eater. They have their podcast Cool Intentions, where they talk about ghost stories. And while they're doing it, they're drinking Moscow mules. They're drinking alcohol. They're getting drunk, and they're talking about ghost stories. But what's interesting about it is they'll also talk about architect in history. So that's what really got me into the show. It's just I like that kind of stuff. But the one that's really funny is sometimes when they read a story, they get freaked. Like they do Ghoul Intentions, which is about an hour long episode, and then Ghosticles is their half an hour episode. They just kind of read fan submitted things, which you can submit on their website at ghoulintentions.com. You can submit your own ghost story, and it might be heard as a cold opening or in a Ghosticles episode. You can also buy their t-shirts. Again, not sponsored. One that says Ghoul Intention, the other one says #bitches in white for the ghosts. The one that really got me laughing was Jamie Marquis hates dolls. So there was another thing about a doll where a ghost moved the head, and she's like, "That her fucking head moved." And just J. Michael Tatum's laughing his ass off because he's just her reaction to that, because she hates dolls. But yeah, that was like the newest kind of podcast I've subscribed to and I listen to because it is really good if you're into like ghost stories. So highly recommend them. One we talked about a little while ago, you said the Simply Scary podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the horror. Simply Scary podcast was probably one of the first podcasts I subscribed to when I first got my first iPhone. The Simply Scary podcast is a podcast created by Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, which is a YouTube channel where they do like dramatic narrations of short stories or like horror stories off Reddit and creepypastas. Like for example, they did like Jeff the Killer. What else have they done on that? Like on the YouTube page, not the podcast. Simply Scary podcast is hosted by GM Danielson. Well, I think it's still hosted by him. I don't know. I'm gonna explain.
I haven't listened to it in a while. I know it was.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually left because they actually renamed the podcast. Anybody's looking it up right now, trying to find it. The podcast name is they changed the name. If you already subscribed to it, it's still on there. They just changed it to Chilling Tales for Dark Nights because it's theirs.
I see it. They did change it.
Yeah, they changed it. But the original episodes are still on there, and it still says "Welcome to the Simply Scary podcast." The one I really liked, the one episode I liked was I actually bought one of the books in the series. It's a 3-book series. It's called. The episode I think is called "Pages of Dust" because it's based off. They did stories from all 3 of the volumes of Pages of Dust. I own the first volume, so like a collection of short stories written by this guy who lives up in New York, and his favorite hobbies are reading and fencing with the swords. So they do like short stories, always hosted by GM Danielson. He also has a YouTube page. I highly recommend him because he does. If you're big on Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft, he does narrations of them. He did talk on his latest live stream on YouTube when he was remonetized. We celebrated being remonetized. How like H.P. Lovecraft, he says he loves the work, but it's so hard to narrate it because of just Lovecraft's way of writing, which I agree with him on that. Because Lovecraft, if you ever read H.P. Lovecraft, he has a distinct way of writing, so it's kind of hard. Sometimes, like when I first was reading him, I was like cross-eyed. I was like, getting more into classic literature now, I can read it no problem. He says like it's hard to do it. He would love to do it more, but some of them don't get a lot of views. Like he said, like my Call of Cthulhu only hasn't even gotten a lot of views. And I was like, that was like the best one. That one, and he said like the Terrible Old Man one. I was like, that's my favorite one at Base Life H.P. Lovecraft was Terrible Old Man. But he says like his best ones were Pickman's Model and I can't remember the other one. They had like the best views of H.P. Lovecraft, and then his best Edgar Allan Poe one was The Telltale Heart, which he's done like a regular read of it, and he did one where it's actually like reading it as if he was insane. It really gets you in the mood. I loved it. The other one I liked that he did was The Castles of Amontillado, where he kind of made it sound like it's coming from a record player.
Oh, nice.
He put an audio filter on it. It's like an old-fashioned like tape recorder. So if you check out his YouTube channel, subscribe and everything if you want to. Not sponsored again, and he didn't ask me. I'm just a Get fan. So Simply Scary Podcast is like that, but they had another season, but I don't know if he's hosting it anymore because the last season he barely hosted it.
Oh, really?
Like he hosted it was hosted a lot by Otis Gyrie and Jason Hill, who has his own podcast. Jason Hill and Otis Gyrie have their own podcast they listen to. Otis Gyrie has the Scary Stories Told in the Dark podcast, and Jason Hill has Horror Hill. I haven't listened to Horror Hill. I listened to a little bit of Otis Gyrie. He's an old gentleman. He's a really old guy from Canada. But when he reads his story, it makes you feel like you're sitting around a campfire. And like a like an old camp guy is like telling you these scary stories. So that's why I like him. Jason Hill has like this distinct like slow tone voice, so it's really good. Well, James Danielson has like the British like creepy voice because his character's supposed to be like a vampire,
Mm-hmm.
not like Grandpa Munster or anything. Like it's really creepy.
It's like that good creepy.
It's like a distinguished Victorian age vampire, like from Bram Stoker's the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula movie. Like it's distinguished Victorian accent he does with the character, where he makes you feel like this character is very smart, and he's inviting you in with his voice. So it's cast. There's one more I was saying like before we go to our favorite one. There's a couple more. Deadly Manners. That one I told Vaslin about, but I don't think he's listened to. It's only 12 episodes. Okay. Deadly Manners is set up sort of like a murder mystery, with these guests coming to this house and it's a dark and stormy night, and somebody ends up dead, and they got to find out who did it. And it's kind of comedic at some times, but it's really good. There's only 12 episodes of it. That was the other one. The Black Tapes Podcast.
Oh yeah,
Black Tapes.
I listened to that whole thing.
That one's really good.
That one is really good.
The Black Tapes Podcast is a thriller, mystery, horror type of podcast.
Narok.
The brother did it. The veteran was just no, Narok. That would actually have been a funny twist, but definitely recommend it because it's actually like a guy dressed up as a gypsy, and they accuse him of murder. He's like, please, I wear this outfit. You think I'm murder somebody? He's like, it was the fucking best. It was actually like a gay guy doing the voice. It was so fun.
Nice.
Not making fun of gays, just like it was the way he delivered it was just stereotypical. The guy is gay. Black Tapes Podcast acts like a mockumentary. What a mockumentary is, you might have heard that from like movies like Paranormal Activity and The Blair Witch, where they set it up that it could be real, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Tapes Podcast follows a reporter in her Mystery of the Unknown to this psychiatrist who is debunking ghosts and demonic possessions, and he has this entire bookshelf full of black binders that he calls the Black Tapes, because they're cases he could not solve, but he says he just put them on the shelf, so they're looking back at it and they're talking about it. They announced this, there's 2 seasons, they announced the season 3, they left it off with a cliffhanger, but nothing has come above it afterwards. And I think they announced season 3. They had a season 3 trailer.
Yeah, they had a season 3 trailer, and then they left it on a cliffhanger, and I haven't heard anything since.
They updated it about a year ago.
Yeah, that was the last thing.
I'm still waiting, bated breath.
Right.
About it. I have to re-listen to it. The other one that's sponsored by them is Rabbits. Vaslin hasn't listened to this.
I haven't listened to Rabbits yet.
Rabbits is similar to that, but it's not about ghosts. It's about this game, this video game, that all these people who have these high scores are like playing this game known as Rabbits. They start disappearing, and it's this friend looking for another friend who just mysteriously disappeared and nobody can find. So she's on it dirty, and she has to play the Rabbits game. So it's really fun. That one was really good. It really left you on your edge of your seat. The other one, not really a mockumentary, it's a crime one, is Congeria.
I was about to say, I was going to mention that one, if you didn't.
Because I kind of look at Congeria is about a detective in New Orleans who's tasked with finding this missing girl, this New Orleans rich family. And there's like a assassin who's out to humiliated him. And it was really good.
It was.
13 episodes, only 13 episodes. Well, 12 episodes in a trailer. They haven't done anything yet. They said there was possibly going to be another season, but I don't know.
Haven't heard anything.
The only ones I'm probably not going to talk about. I do listen to some pro wrestling podcasts like Stone Cold Podcast and Edge and Christian's podcast, the ENC Pod of Awesomeness. which is wrestlers and best friends, Edge and Christian, as their own podcast. They interview wrestlers. Stone Cold does the same thing. There's other ones I'm subscribed to, but I haven't listened to. The Dark Tome, I listened to the first season.
The Dark Tome, I listened to the first season. The problem with it is that you'll get like 2 episodes of the next season, and then it locks you behind a premium wall. At least it does for Stitcher. I don't know if it does for Apple or not.
Nope, I get all the episodes.
Damn. All right, I'll have to. Because this was about 8 months ago when I listened to it. Let me see if it's.
I have to ask my aunt, because there's a podcast app she was telling me about that like has better audio. I listen to, and it's about the same for my iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I have a new iPhone, so that's why. The Dark Tome, I did listen to the first season. It does sometimes get confusing because it's about a girl who finds the Dark Tome and it brings her into different stories.
Damn you, Stitcher.
It was alright. Daily Darkness is part of Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. They just do one short story, about like a half an hour long, usually. That one's good. Shadows at the Door, I was recommended. It sounded good. I listened to the first episode. It was really good. I haven't listened to it since. I need to get back to it. I am subscribed to the Smoshcast, which is Smosh's, the YouTube channel Smosh's podcast, because it's interesting listening to behind-the-scenes stuff between Ian and the other cast members of Smosh. They even brought up in the second episode about Anthony when he left Smosh, if he would ever come back, and like if he's allowed to come back, and if he was coming back, and it was interesting listening to that. The other one was, well, this one actually was recommended because of the one podcast we're going to talk about. The ending was the Byron Chronicles.
I need to listen to this one.
Which one?
Byron Chronicles.
I'm subscribed to it. I haven't listened to any episodes because the character was in one of those episodes, the podcast we're going to talk about at the end. I haven't listened to that one. The last one I'll talk about before we head to the grand finale is the one I actually listened to it first off a mod in 4. The mod is called We're Alive Radio.
Oh yeah.
There was a mod on Fallout 4 that
I forgot it was a mod.
That's how I got into the show, because I listened to the whole thing. It was only the first season, so but the whole thing's up. We're Alive, a story of survival. This one is a zombie apocalypse action adventure radio drama, like podcast drama. It follows 3 soldiers set in California, following 3 soldiers that one day of the zombie apocalypse just happens. And these aren't like George A. Romero Night of the Living Dead zombies. No, these are like 28 days later Left 4 Dead zombies. They're running right at you, force. Actually, later on, it's actually more like Left 4 Dead because there's mutated ones. There's mutated zombies. Following these soldiers trying to just survive, the first safe area they make is a apartment complex they call the Tower. They're rescuing other survivors. It follows the hardships of, going from, like, for example, us just like, if I get sick, I go to the doctor.
The zombies hit the gym before they died.
Oh no, these zombies are like freaking creepy because they don't go like that. They actually will. There was actually one thing where they accidentally dropped a flower pot from, I think it was like a 5th story window. It actually knocked out of the window, and there was a zombie walking by, heard the noise, looked at it, looked back up at him, and just howled. It was calling others to its location.
Nice.
So they're a lot of them are very intelligent. Some of them even can dodge bullets, because there was one where the one got into the building and it ducked behind a counter when it was getting shot at by an assault rifle. So some of them are very intelligent, some of them are stupid. And there was even one who was built. It looked like they described it kind of like the tank from Left 4 Dead. Just a big freaking gigantic zombie with armored skin.
Mm-hmm.
that can literally freaking lift a tank and throw it at you. But yeah, just like the following hardships, like if we get sick, we go to the doctor if we need to get medicine. Apocalypse happens, there's no doctor. You're lucky if you got a doctor in the tower, and there's no like antibiotics, if any, because a lot of stores get raided. Searching for food, they even had to start growing their own food. Power and the water going out, they had to start having a water pump and build a generator. It just kind of follows their journey throughout California for years, and it ends off on like a good term with it.
Hey Amber, what's up? How are
Hey Amber,
you?
you missed a lot of us talking about.
Yeah, right.
They had a second part which was called "We're Alive Lockdown." This was a crowd-funded season. It was only 6 episodes. It's set during the
It's playing
first.
Dauntless. No worries.
That's no worries. You can always watch back on the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
You can. It was set. The We're Alive Lockdown was set during the very first episode, the first couple of episodes of the show, and it's set with these prisoners stuck in the prison that they mentioned in the show because these prisoners escape in the middle of the show, and they're actually like causing problems. They even like resorted to like nearly killing the entire tower because
Hey Hope, how are you doing? Amber, we're talking about podcasts.
Talking about our favorite podcast. I'm in the middle of talking about one of my favorites, We're Alive. These prisoners, the leader wanted to move a lot of his guys into the tower, but one of the soldiers, the main soldier, Michael, said no, and then they just started like freaking trying to murder everybody inside and send zombies in there. Oh, she doesn't listen to podcasts. Okay, that's fine. Well, maybe you'll get it. Maybe you'll get interested.
Amber, you should listen to some. They're really good.
Definitely. They're actually coming back after so many years. They're coming back with a new season.
No, you didn't offend him.
No, I didn't offend you. I was just messing with you. No, I'm just saying you might be interested in listening to them after this. That's the whole point why we're doing it. Where was I? Oh, the new season coming up is called "We're Alive Gold Rush." It's set in the Arizona desert, I believe. One of the big names I found out about that's coming on the show is Danny Trejo.
Oh, really?
Apparently, he was leaked about it. They have their own Facebook fan page.
Nice.
I think he's coming out. It was leaked. I don't know if it's true or not. It's not. They have a trailer already out. It's supposed to start when? They're gonna start uploading. If I can find it. Oh, by the way, the We're Alive podcast is 48 chapters, and every chapter except for the season finales is 3 parts.
Damn.
And they're each about 30 minutes long. I mean, it's 30 minutes long for each of them.
You don't listen to them either, Hope? Well, maybe us talking about them will get you interested in some. They're all free, so nothing to lose.
Lockdown is 6 parts. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's coming in September. We're Alive Gold Rush. The trailer's out. It's here's the description. Joined Puck, Robbins, Maloon, and Carls, they embark on a quest to recover a gold fortune stolen after the fall of man. And it starts September 7th, live in Los Angeles. They updated that back in May about that. Because their last update before that was back in 2016. After they did Gold Rush. After they did Lockdown. Because Lockdown started in April 2016. And the We're Alive, the main story, ended back in 2014. and they started in their first episode was on May 4th, 2009. The podcast is over 10 years old. It's very good. It's very, very good. They even had a scene where they're at the beach because they're looking for supplies. And how they filmed it, they had a behind the scenes on their fan page. They put the voice actors in these kind of like mini bathtubs because there's a scene where they're going in the water and like trying to clean off because they got zombie guts on them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to get the instead of just adding a sound effect, they actually put the voice actors and the actresses in these like tubs, and they actually had them like kind of like swimming around and stuff to get that set while they're doing their lines.
Jeez.
I mean, that's commitment.
Mm-hmm.
That's commitment, and that shows you how, they were about it. I don't know how Gold Rush is going to come out. I'm excited for it because when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, yes. Yes, Amber.
Podcasts are free.
Podcasts are free unless they ask. Usually, sometimes they'll ask you to support them on Patreon. Like No Sleep does the thing where they have a season pass, $19.99. So you get access to bonus stories.
Yeah, a lot of podcasts have like if you support them on Patreon or another service like that, they'll have like extra like supporter goodies. Like another podcast that I forgot about earlier, but I'll mention is Gastropod, and they talk about food through the lens of science and history. And one of their supporter things is if you support them on Patreon, you get a newsletter that has extra stories that they couldn't fit into their actual episode. That one's really good too. So
now we come, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finale. But first, Vaseline, play the trailer. Let's get them in the mood. Let's play the trailer.
I'm gonna actually play the trailer for this for you guys.
This is both of our favorite podcasts.
Seriously is.
Get you in the mood.
Immortality, longevity, an endless lifespan. Watching civilizations rise and fall. What would you do to become immortal?
My name is Macallan Orsel. I'm a genetic scientist in New York. I'm caught in a secret war between two powerful groups of immortals. I've been told that I am a messiah to a group of people I barely know. I'm forced on a quest around the globe to fulfill a destiny I never chose. If only I can stay alive.
From Christoph Laputka comes the Leviathan Chronicles, an audio adventure like you've never heard before.
What is Leviathan?
I'll tell you as much as I know.
We have been among you for almost a millennium.
What? Immortal?
They can't know about Leviathan.
Die!
We're hitting crush depth.
Blow those charges.
No!
Get down!
Nothing this big has ever moved that fast underwater.
I have no tolerance for your lack of commitment.
Why have you brought me here?
You are here because we need your help. The man you met earlier was named Whit Roberts.
I believe her condition is the result of an attack.
He's a liar and an assassin.
You are going to tell me what I want to know.
She was never trained for this.
She was bred for it, Anton.
Well, she doesn't know that.
The only question is...
You'll need to find the key, Macallan.
How much damage are we going to do in the meantime?
To discover the Leviathan Chronicles and get the next dimension in podcasting, go to www.leviathanchronicles.com. Immortality or freedom? Which would you choose?
So yeah, that's the trailer. I still get goosebumps when I hear it.
So you guys are sci-fi guys. Vaseline's more into sci-fi. I'm more into horror. Leviathan Chronicles was like one of the big exceptions because it's such a good one.
It really is. It's so good.
Yeah, I was glad you actually played the trailer because that really gets everybody in the mood. I actually told Vaseline about the Leviathan Chronicles. It was recommended to me through the No Sleeps page. Ironic as that is. Again, it's an audio adventure starring this girl who finds out that her family is descendants of, well, she's part of these immortals that live in an underwater city known as Leviathan. So she's trying to uncover.
I want to show them the actual thing. Keep talking. I'm just gonna.
But yeah, it's really good. A lot of sound effects, voice acting is amazing. And it really, like, it gets a picture in your mind about it. Like, whenever I thought of Leviathan, I thought of it, like, similar to Rapture and Bioshock and, like, Atlantis. Kind
So
of, like,
that's
fused together.
the webpage. That's the redesign they did.
Actually, I haven't seen the webpage. Oh, damn! That looks
Yeah.
nice. That's exactly how I imagined Leviathan City.
Yeah.
God, I want that as a background on my Xbox now.
I know, right? But God, you can listen to everything here. You don't have to have an app for it.
Yeah, you can listen to it on the website. Like I said, again, we're not sponsored. We are gigantic fans. But if the creators of Leviathan, if the creators of Leviathan want to come on the show, don't hesitate. Because that'd be awesome. We interview them. So there are a lot of characters on the show. So Vaslin, who's your favorite character on Leviathan Chronicles?
Besides the obvious.
Yes, besides the obvious.
Probably Anton.
I mean, who was Anton? Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
He's one of the Resistance members.
Yeah.
Besides the obvious one.
You know who the obvious one is.
I know, yes. I like the Irish. I can't remember the Irish guy's name.
Oh,
Tully?
like the barkeep? Oh.
No, not the barkeep. No, Tully's his crewmate.
Oh,
the one who gets kidnapped in the show.
Shit.
Spoilers.
I know who it is.
I like his accent. He's like, do you not understand who I am?
Yeah, right.
But our favorite character is a character named Harlequin. He's a master thief and hacker. And he's one of the few immortals that's actually able to live outside of Leviathan and not be a part of what they call the Resistance. The Resistance is going up against Leviathan City because they were imprisoned somewhat in there by Angela, who's the leader of Leviathan. She's the very first immortal of Evangeline, sorry. She's like the leader of the immortals, and she's the one who actually created. Because it's not you're not born an immortal; you're made into an immortal. You have to meet like the whole premise of Evangeline's making Leviathan City. They have an episode a couple episodes entirely devoted of her backstory. I think they have
3 episodes for her origin story.
Yeah, that she's been alive since like the witch trials. Not even before, like during like when the church would go after like if you're a witch.
She's been alive since Nordic times, like Vikings, so 1100s.
Yeah,
something like that.
They explain what makes the immortals, but she only picks people that are very smart or artistic. So that's why I get the feeling of like Andrew Ryan in Rapture.
I mean, the design of the city looks like Rapture.
Yeah, but like she picks out the people that they're gonna benefit if they're alive for thousands of years, that they're gonna improve.
Like in the city, Leonardo da Vinci paints the sky.
Yeah.
If that tells you anything.
Well, not Leonardo. It's not Leonardo da Vinci. It's a guy who was around after da Vinci's time.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Leonardo himself.
No, that'd be awesome if it was, but it's not. I can't remember his name. Like they have a bunch of people. They've been alive since like the 1800s and the 1900s. But the ones who escaped Leviathan City, sometimes they're in like old 18th century. Like there's a character that actually escapes and joins the Resistance, but he's unfamiliar how the real world is like. So he's dressed up in like a puffy 18th century shirt and like trousers and stuff, and people are looking at him like weird because it's supposed to be set in modern times. So pretty much premise of it, she's a
genetic researcher.
Yes, genetic researcher. Her grandmother's dying of some unknown disease, and she's approached by the leaders because apparently she was born of Angeline's blood line. They took part of her DNA and they made her with her family, and she's actually the only person that's ever been born an immortal. Well, she wasn't. She was born from immortals, but she's not immortal herself until later on the show. She does become one, and they'll explain how that works. It was really cool how it happened. And on the flip side, there's the Black Door. They're hunting and trying to hunt down and kill all immortals because they deem them
threats to humanity.
Yeah. And their leader is a fucking asshole, and he sounds like Matthew McConaughey.
Jason?
Yeah, he sounds like a fucking... No, Jason's the assassin that...
No, wait, Robert's the assassin. It said that in the trailer.
Yeah, you're right. I couldn't listen to the trailer. I only listened to pieces of it because of... I had to mute my mic and everything, so nobody would hear it echo. Yeah, Jason, he sounds like Matthew McConaughey, and Robert is a total dick. Because he has his ear cut off, and now he's pissed off because he can't go into disguises. So he's hunting down everybody who did it. It's just a stupid way to go after somebody, but... And it's just interesting, the dynamic, because showing things from, like, say, like, yeah, the Black Door, they run a lot of stuff. And yes, the Immortals have been running stuff behind the scenes and nobody knows about it, so that's what makes it, it's like a secret war. It's sort of like Underworld, where it's like the Vikings versus the vampires. People don't know about it.
It's super good. We highly recommend it.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if they're on the podcast app. I don't know if there's a website. They had bonus episodes.
They're back to being paid.
All right, they're back to being paid. Podcast. Let me see if they are on my app on my phone.
Okay, here's the thing. Those special episodes go in between season 1 and season 2, and even though they're paid for, they're like $4 an episode, but they're like an hour and a half long each. So it's worth the $4, and it gives a lot of backstory into what happens in season 2.
You're gonna hate me.
Why?
They're still available for free on the podcast app on my iPhone.
No, they're not on Stitcher. Damn
They're
it.
free on the podcast app.
Damn you, Apple.
I don't know. Now, they ended it kind of off on not really major cliffhanger. It just leaves it, and there's a lot of questions. The main reason why the main creator of the show, his wife, is diagnosed with terminal cancer. So he didn't feel it was right to continue it because he wanted to be with his wife. Because he didn't know if she was going to make it or be her last days. Unfortunately, she did pass away. Because he had an update like years later. Because they ended it back in
4 years. They ended it. Their last episode was 2013.
Yeah. And they had an update.
They had an update last year.
No, Miss Amber
was it
Apple is
2017?
not terrible. Just kidding. No, I just I don't know. I switched to an iPhone because I had Android, but the guy gave me a good deal on an iPhone, and this is my. Shut up, man. Hurt my feelings. I had it. He had an update where they talked about it. They are back in the recording studio. I think they just finished up majority of the first half of the new season.
They're working on 48 through 50, I think.
Yeah. They had a contest going on. I think it's still going on, that if you say a couple lines, your voice could actually be in.
Have a good night, Amber.
Have a good night.
Thank you for hanging out.
6.5. Ooh, Jesus. 6.5 hours. I think it was. What was it?
This is the rest of my bits. Good night.
Good night, Amber. Thank you for the bits. I forgot to put an alert box on the scene. Whoops.
He had to say it, I remember the contest was, because he tagged me in it, that your voice you do like these lines, and if you win, they put you in an episode of the Leviathan Chronicles. And I told Vaseline, I was like, would it be awesome if we were an episode with really interacting with Leaf? Shit.
I forgot to do it though.
I did too. That didn't matter. They're probably gonna pick like somebody who's like a foreign accent.
Probably.
Not like just a normal like American accent.
You never know.
They're like, oh no. Yeah. They do. I think what is it? They started. I think after episode 5, they did the soapbox right after an episode where they just kind of they kind of discussed it.
He started doing it like tacking it on at the end of the episode, and then they got so long that they had to make them their own separate things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Started. Jeez. Oh, they didn't start doing soapboxes until chapter 18.
Yeah, that's their separate ones. They're up until that point. I think it did start around episode 5. They were doing them. And he was doing them by himself, and he was tacking them on.
Mm-hmm. And then some of them are like really short, like 30 an hour. They're very, very worth it.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. Like,
oh, they had the update in middle of 2017 actually.
Yeah, he's been updating it on Facebook though.
Yeah, they have their Facebook fan page, which if you wanna, you'll see like behind the scenes photos of them recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very good. Trying to think.
The first episode is like legitimate. Like, this is how this all started, but it may seem like it's not fitting in the vein of what the theme of the podcast or what the theme of the story is, but just listen to it. It will make sense.
They're pretty much what they do with the first episode. They plant the seeds of what happened, what they find out later what's happening to the immortals, because all the immortals are starting to slowly die.
Yeah.
They don't know why, and then what happens in that first episode, they finally put 2 and 2 together towards the end, and then it's just really interesting because it's really science fiction-y and action based than horror, but it really it literally makes you feel like, man, they could actually too. But it's easier making it into a audio drama because they don't have to have the budget for, we're gonna have a car flip and an explosion, and we're gonna film in a mountain. No, you just add the sound effects.
I mean, sound effect is still a lot of work, but it's not as much work as having a set, having stunt actors, having all the pyrotechnics and all the actual physical things.
Yeah, and all the CGI, and also not having your actors hang off a Arctic mountain.
Yeah, right.
That happens in one of the episodes later on. The special episodes are the ones that if you don't have I guess you don't have an Apple product, you have to pay for it. They kind of like just tell little backstories. My favorite one is called The Ward.
That one's really good.
It follows Harlequin and his adopted daughter, and that one kind of leads up to what happens towards the end of the season, and why he called her for whatever happens to him, because I don't want to give it away. But like, there's a lot of like parts in it where it's like you don't know, and then it literally ends kind of like a drama where it's like, come on, we're almost out of here. It's like, oh, I don't think you're going anywhere, and it's a guy with a gun right to the back of the head, and it just ends there. And you're like, next episode.
Yeah, right.
I used to actually skip the soapboxes when it was
So
something.
did I.
I was like, nope, I'll listen to it later.
I did that too. I'm not gonna lie.
No, because like and then I would go back and re-listen. I went back and listened to all the soapbox, but like, because it leaves you on the edge of your seat. You're like, I gotta fucking listen to the next episode right now. It's like when you watch it was like when I watched Ash vs. Evil Dead when that first came on. First episode was fucking awesome, and then it ended. I was like, I gotta wait. God damn it! Or it's like The Walking Dead, or any like show. I think any show people watch, it's like they leave cliffhangers, and you're like, what the fuck? I gotta wait a week. But we have the benefit of the doubt because the show's pretty much wrapped all the way up to where it's at now. But now that they're coming back and doing the rest of it, it's gonna be amazing.
Right. I can't wait, especially with the advances in technology in these past 5 years, 6 years, to see what they can do.
It's got like the most kick-ass intro.
I tried looking the band up that actually did that, and I can't find them.
I found them. He talked about it in one of the soapboxes. They're from.
But they were on MySpace.
Yeah, they had a MySpace. That's how old the podcast is.
This whole thing started in 2008. If that tells you anything.
Yeah. Apparently, the band was a. They weren't like a big mainstream band. They were just like kind of like one of those MySpace bands that don't hit off.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if he got them back for this, or if they're just
so.
they're gonna remake it with a new band. Because there's other musicians out there that can do that intro, like Celldweller can do that easily, and Blue Stolly can add like really heavy tones to it if it's an episode. Like Celldweller's done music for. Shit, like everything. You might not even know people by them. If you play Dead Rising 2, he did majority of the Psycho themes in that game. He's done trailers. His music's been in trailers for TV shows, movies, video games. He did the whole soundtrack for fucking this app. It was a comic book, but it was like a live. It was kind of like an interactive. It's called The Bane of Yodo. It was really good. They only had one issue ever. The book's out. Like they made a novelization of it, and the comic book was going to be like this app where literally, if you move your phone or your iPad or iPod or iPhone, the characters would actually kind of like shift as you were like. It's kind of like a one of those like holographic things. It was like that, and it was like it was action based. So, like, scenes would animate and stuff, so it was... But, to Leviathan Chronicles. So, the question I have for you,
You cut out.
Oh, I did? Okay. The question I have for you is, if Leviathan City was real, say it is, what do you think? What's the one quality you think that Evangeline would pick you to become a immortal, and would you do it? Would you become an immortal?
I don't know. I don't know what quality she would want. Like, I play music, sure, but I'm not that great. I can do physics, but again, not that great.
Well, again, you could be pretty good at physics, and you might say, we'll come down to Leviathan City and we'll teach you more. But the main thing is, would you become an immortal?
I mean, from what I know about it, I don't know. It's a tough one.
It is, because you kind of think of it like, I can't answer it either, because you think of it this way: you're going to live forever, and your family's probably going to die, and you're going to still look the same years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be like hundreds of years, and you're just still alive. And it's like, are you going to get bored with being alive for so long, or is it just going to be, okay, I enjoy being in Leviathan City because I'm learning all this?
I mean, even if you somehow learned everything there is to know about your field, there's enough people down there that have extensive knowledge in other fields. You could say, hey, I want to learn this. You could spend 50, 100 years learning this craft instead. So I don't think it would be so bad that way. But I think as far as boredom goes, I think it would be bad that, well, everyone I knew up on the surface is dead. So...
Hey, you're still breathing. You probably, like, if I ever had to become an immortal, I would just fake my death, so my family thinks I'm dead.
Oh yeah.
And not like alive.
I think they have like measures put in place for that.
I think I mean, like, for people that were around like 17th century, 18th century, that's easy enough to get rid of because you can just burn the documents. Nowadays with the internet, you have a digital footprint.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, they're gonna put like $50 million in my bank account just to help me get out of a city.
Yeah, right.
Jeez, that happens in one of the episodes because she's like, "Holy shit, they're serious."
Yeah.
Just like, or even like if Leviathan City was real and they allowed models to go down there, I think I would really just want to go down there.
Yeah, right.
Spend like a couple of years maybe down there. Just study it and then like hope that like they don't invent plasmids and have splicers going around.
Oh God, please no.
We don't want it to be Rapture.
Yeah, right. We want Rapture without the splicers.
Well, it's not really even like described as Rapture.
Oh, I know.
Because I actually am halfway done with the BioShock Rapture book I bought. It's really good. It's really, really good. Like Ryan really was. To me, with Andrew Ryan was getting away from it because not only because of the bombs at Hiroshima and all that. It was like he really thought the world was going to end because of all that. So like he's finding people. He finds McDonough, the one British guy you find the audio logs about. He's talking about like the pipes and everything. He was actually a contractor and a plumber before he met Ryan. And then he went to Andrew Ryan's office and worked on the plumbing, and Ryan watched him do it, and it was like super fast. He was really good. And charged. He's like, oh, like, would you like this? Like, oh, you're gonna. And he McDonough billed him to Ryan, and Ryan's like, that's all. He's like, I thought you were gonna try to, cost me more. And he's like, I only believe in paying what I've, whatever's been worked on. And Ryan saw something. He hired him the next day as head contractor for the Atlantic project, which we turned into Rapture. And then seeing Frank Fontaine get into the story, like owning a bar and hearing about it, and then like going to all these other disguises just to learn about it, it was so interesting. And then them meeting Sandra Cohen's, so it's interesting. But yeah, that's all the podcasts we listen to. There's many more now because you guys have recommended a bunch in the Discord. I'd be like, Jesus Christ, I don't need any more. There's one more that I saw. Nope, I pretty much talked about everything. So again, we talk about Leviathan Chronicles. I know we talked the most about it because it is that good.
It really is.
You listen to the trailer. Don't tell me that doesn't suck you into listening to it. Because that's what really, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Definitely listen to any of the podcasts we've mentioned. Again, a majority of them were from me because that's what I listen to. Because it just breaks up time nicely to something. But again, the moral of it is there's a podcast for everybody.
You just gotta look for them.
Just gotta look for it. You can look up. They have podcasts from news, storytelling, cooking, exercise, fitness,
anything,
romance.
basically anything, any topic you can think of. If you search that topic in a place where you can find podcasts, you'll find something.
Yeah. So yeah, you might be interested in storytelling or no sleep.
You're cutting out again.
No. Just repeat it. So again, you might be interested in podcasts that are like storytelling, like Leviathan Chronicles and No Sleep and The Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, or many other ones I mentioned. You might be into old-time radio, like the Relic Radio podcast we talked about. You could be interested in talk shows like Vaseline has talked about how brands and how Apple used skinheads in their commercials back in the day.
They really did. I'm not lying.
I believe you because I can see it. You might be interested in podcasts that are talk shows where they bring in guests like Fat Man Beyond and the Edge and Christian pod of awesomeness, or they even have Dr. Phil has his own fucking podcast, for God's sakes. I think every celebrity has their own podcast now.
I'm sure.
You might be interested in podcasts about ghost stories, Cool Intentions. You might be interested about podcasts talking about anime. Another one I was going to talk about, I haven't subscribed to, is J. Michael Tatum has another one, different voice actress. He does it's the anime show. They just talk about anime.
Nice.
And anime voice acting.
Oh, and another podcast you guys should listen to. Our resident Pugman, DJ Bronzeleague, has an anime podcast. I don't remember what day of the week he does it, but I know he's been doing it lately. It's called Slice of No Life, and you guys should go listen to it. Go watch him live on Twitch.
Also, don't forget to listen live on Twitch. The Fox's Den, they talk only about video games, video game news, and hottest things about the newest games. Also, you could talk about... Also, don't forget to always tune in bi-weekly to this podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be alternating between this and our Borderlands playthrough.
So far, it's going to be bi-weekly. And
the Pug Lord himself. Yeah, right.
So
DJ's
next
awesome.
week, yes. So next week we're gonna go back to Bioshock Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna continue on that, and then we'll go back to another podcast. I haven't thought of the second episode. Me and Vaseline are gonna discuss about it. But unlike the Fox's Den, we're not gonna be constricted to just video games. We're gonna talk about video games, movies, TV shows, anime, manga, comic books, podcasts we just talked to, literature.
Oh yeah, speaking of movies, I saw the new Godzilla today. So good.
Sick.
So good. I took my dad for his birthday and he loved it.
Alright. See it. My uncle went and saw it, the one you met when we went to go see Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Oh, it's a great movie, but these fucking 16-year-old bitches wouldn't shut the fuck up the whole movie." Literally what he put on Facebook.
Oh my god.
They took my wife to go see it. That's my uncle. Because he got pissed off because they wouldn't shut the fuck up. He's like, Jesus, it was like a slumber party. They would not shut the fuck up.
Dude, big fan of Godzilla. I mean, there's a lot of people who are fans of Godzilla.
Doesn't like fucking Godzilla. Maybe that'll be an episode. We'll talk about Toho.
Oh
Godzilla.
my god, I should get... Okay, I just had an idea for an episode. So, Rainbow and I were having an entire discussion on Toho Godzilla earlier. I should get him on. Really, dude? Nurok, can you handle that, please? Alright, never mind, I'll get it.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. We got one really towards the end.
Thank you, Nurok.
Thank you, Nurok. Fucking assholes. Jesus Christ. I haven't thought of another topic because the podcast one just seemed fitting for our first episode because it's something.
No worries, dude.
Maybe we'll talk about. We could talk about like anything. We could be talking about #3.
Oh my god. There's a posse of them. Got it.
What the fuck is... Really? They just come at night?
Yep. I normally don't get this.
Freaks come out at night.
Yeah, right.
Freaks come out at night. Freaks come out. That's what pretty much is. We'll sometimes have friends here on Twitch come on the podcast if you're interested and you want to talk. You have a 3-way talk about a subject you're interested in. Still haven't picked a date. I'm trying to pick certain things related to either set around a time, maybe like a holiday, somebody's birthday. There is a certain writer that me and you read that his birthday is coming up. Maybe we'll have an episode based off that.
Yeah, we could
have an episode around him because that'll be interesting to talk about. We can talk about a certain video game franchise, many movie franchises, TV shows. Talk about the 90s.
Yeah, right.
When shit was awesome. We're gonna maybe talk about like movies if we both seen it, but they'll be spoiler free.
Yeah. Most of the like smaller things we do, like the podcasts we talked about today, were just a bunch of little snippets. They're going to be spoiler free. But if we do an episode entirely devoted to, say, Godzilla, not going to be spoiler free.
Will not be spoiler free, so if you haven't seen them,
go watch them.
If you want to know whenever the subject is, definitely subscribe. Just like the Apollon Facebook page or Twitter page, like that, and you'll always be updated on when we're gonna do what the subject's going to be. So far, it's gonna be a bi-weekly podcast. It might change. We might do like Borderlands for like every Wednesday, like we used to, and then might do the podcast every Friday. I don't know.
That depends on my job.
Depends on your job, but like I think the bi-weekly to me works.
The bi-weekly, for now at least, is gonna be our best option. But yeah.
Oh, I just figured out what we're gonna talk about next time.
What?
On the podcast. #iDrab.
No. Hell no.
Just kidding. No, I mean we'll pick something. I'll think of something. Probably wouldn't need 1 week because I'll write some ideas down. I'll message you and we'll just collaborate.
Yeah.
Kind of say like, oh, maybe we'll say like, oh, here's 4 things. We'll do this one next that week, and then we'll do that one next, and like that kind of deal. This way we have like a schedule ahead, and not just like, holy shit. It's like, holy shit, Tuesday podcast is tomorrow. I gotta think of an idea.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But next week on Fox Den, we're doing an E3 recap over there. So come hang out, check that out. Hopefully I won't be solo again like I was today.
Fun.
Yeah.
And also don't forget to, again, tune in every other week for this podcast and every other Borderlands. Borderlands 3 is coming out very soon. I think.
They delayed it, I think. It's...
No, I asked them when I pre-ordered at GameStop. They said September 13th.
I thought they delayed it because they couldn't get their gun algorithm right.
Probably. They did actually. I want to give a shout out to Gearbox for doing this. A fan that had terminal cancer, they let him play it early. And then he was able to name one of the guns. There was an article shared on Facebook about it.
Nice.
It was a 26-year-old fan who had terminal cancer. He didn't know if he was going to live to see the game be released. So they let him play it early. And they let him name a gun. One of the guns in the game. And it's a legendary.
Nice.
So that was actually fucking awesome on their part. Yeah, so we might pick, like, for example, if we do like an episode about manga, we're not going to talk about. I don't think we would do like similar to this where we talked about because Vasila knows how many mangas I own.
Too many.
It's over 200. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I've been collecting them since I was 13, so what do you expect? Same thing with the movies. That's why I have so many movies, because I've been collecting it for years. We probably would talk about a certain manga and then their anime adaptation, because that would actually bust in more episodes.
Yeah.
Because that could work.
If you guys have any ideas for things you want to talk about in my channel, or in my Discord, there's a channel called Podcast Ideas. Just put your stuff there. It's down near the bottom. And
also,
anything you want to see us talk about.
That isn't related to being a troll.
God damn it, Narok. Okay, so another thing I have to talk about. My final paper, I have to start writing it soon, so I might be cutting back on streaming, so that way I have time to do that. I'll still be doing this. I'll still be doing Rockstar and D&D, but other than that, I don't know what I'm gonna have time to do. So I've got a month to write a 15-page paper.
Jesus Christ! How many have you written? Let me guess. You've only written the title.
Nope.
Not even that.
Nope.
Jesus Christ! You are.
No, I have my research proposal done. I have all my sources. I just need to actually start writing it.
Oh, you're at the part where it's the same thing when I try to write a short story.
Yeah,
I have the idea in your head. You just can't put the words on paper.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, I think we might have another segment on the podcast I didn't ask Aaron about, Aslan about it yet. Maybe doing you guys ask us questions through the Discord chat. We'll set up one you can ask us a question during if we're doing we're doing the podcast. You can ask a question. We might be able to answer a couple of them.
That is not Bashi related.
That's not Bashi related, and not troll related. Because if it's troll related, you're banned.
I don't think anyone here would do that, except those two assholes who just came in.
Yeah, how much you want to bet they're 12-year-olds?
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, Map's piercing me. We're so funny. Probably my fucking brother.
Oh, God.
Just want to punch him in the face and tell him shut the fuck up. You
never meet his brother. Ever.
No, he's a fucking idiot. Plain and simple. So we'll try to. We might even, I have to think, because I was trying to think of other ideas for other episodes, but again, this was just a dry run, put it that way. Testing the waters, if it worked, and it did. We had some fun talking about it, and it's actually a lot easier to.
God damn it, Neuro.
I don't even know what Bashi is. I don't. I know it's some game, but I guess it's really hard, I guess.
This is all I know about Bashi. Oops. That's not the right emote. Where's the emote? It's an actual Twitch global emote. Oh, there it is.
It's Bashi time.
Oh, it's Y instead of I. But yeah, that's all I know about Bashi.
The fuck is it?
It's a caution sign holding a gun. I do not hate you guys. Shut up.
Oh, no. He doesn't hate the viewers. He's doing it because he doesn't want. It sounds like that fucking game Markiplier played, Destroy the Porn.
What the fuck?
There's a guy that got sent to hell, but he has to go through all these levels in hell in order to get back to Earth for 5 minutes and destroy all his porn for his mom.
Oh my god.
And it's set in a 8-bit arcade style. It's fucking.
That sounds really weird.
That's funny. It was fucking hysterical. It's a one episode. It was a one-shot episode. This game's not long. Now we come to our final segment, which we don't know how long the segment's gonna last. It's called Two Old Bastards Bitch About Stuff.
I forgot about this.
I actually did it. I just remembered it. So how this works, when we get a name for the podcast before we came with the Apollicast. We're gonna talk about stuff that we knew back in the day, and we're gonna bitch about it because how it is today. Back in my day, Doritos used to be in 3D. We liked it. We loved it.
Oh god, you're doing that too.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that. We liked it. We loved it.
Oh my god.
Go ahead.
swear. What am I gonna do with you?
Back in my day, Superman didn't have chest hair poking out of his chest. We liked it. We loved it. The Henry Cavill.
What?
The Henry Cavill fucking Superman. I make fun of it because my aunt likes him because his chest hair pokes out of the suit.
Oh my god.
So I just make fun of her. I was like, oh look, I see more chest hairs poking out of his suit because apparently he doesn't know how to fucking shave. Like a fucking gorilla.
Back in my day, Batman didn't have marbles in his mouth. Why did I just sound like Bill Clinton?
Okay. Back in my day, Batman wasn't played by a fucking guy who sparkles when it's sunny.
Oh, Robert Pattinson is Batman.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna try to give him a chance. But I'm not gonna be like, okay. I'm not gonna give him like a chance like that fucking Death Note movie. I'm gonna like give it to like a chance like I'm watching you. If you suck at one part, suck, done.
Yeah, right.
You fucking. I don't care if the rest of the movie's a fucking success. You're fucking done. If you mess up one thing. If he was doing the voice of Batman, that's one thing, but it's live act. If he's doing the voice, I can understand. Like, okay, do like a remake of Batman. See, that's what I think Robert Pattinson should have done. They should have done Batman Beyond with him in it. That would have been good. Back in my day, Batman Beyond was cool. Unlike this fucking Super Marvel thing on Disney. We liked it. We loved it.
Just so dumb.
Back in my day, they didn't wrap manga in plastic. Left it out. We liked it. We loved it.
Oh my gosh.
Back in my day, game companies cared about their products more than they cared about money. Oh, fucking shots fired.
I mean, that was like 15 minutes of Fox Den today. So.
Shots fired. I mean, there's one game company that's caring about the fans. It's BE Heavier, who made Dead by Daylight, because they're actually having dedicated servers come to that game for the consoles.
Oh, are they?
Dedicated servers. They're updating a lot of the maps. They're bringing Ghostface into it. They just announced he's going to... Well, they leaked it. It was accidentally leaked on the game. But they finally had the first little 18-minute trailer. And then they're gonna have the full spotlight 18th when he's released. He's released on for everybody.
Nice.
Back in my day, we didn't need newfangled DLCs. We walked 2 miles DLC. We just to grab cards and play real games like men. It's actually true. Because back in my day, we didn't sit on our phones all day. We fucking went outside. And
yeah, right.
God damn, like I see like kids.
Back in my day, Naruto was cool.
Back in my day, the weirdest show out there was Boo 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 Boo.
Oh my god. Super Fist of the Nose Hair.
Super Fist of the Nose Hair. So one show Dan fucking despises.
I know.
And I showed him I have the first 2 volumes of the manga, and I showed him. He's like, God damn it, get that shit away from me. He literally said, he's like, get that fucking shit away from me. I was like, just look at it. He's like, all right. And then he's like, the art style's cool, but it's the fuck is wrong with this show? I was like, that's the point. Back in my day, we walked up a mountain both ways through the snow, one direction and through hail the other, to play a game that only had not one day patches and constant fixes. That's actually very true. Back in my day, I didn't need cleaning shit to fix my discs on my game. Just fucking blew in the cartridge like a real man. We liked it. We loved it. Oh, God. Back in my day, we didn't have no frickin' vegan-friendly juices. We had Capri Sun, Sea Monkey Blast. We liked it. We loved it.
Sea Monkey Blast? I don't remember that one.
That's not a real flavor. I just made it up.
That doesn't surprise me. It sounds like one of those 90s Nickelodeon collaborations.
Oh my god! A Capri Sun, Sea Monkey Blast. Capri Sun, Sea Monkey Blast. Feel the sea monkey blasting you. Just fucking Tony Hawk riding a skateboard.
Oh my god.
That's 90s, pretty much.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a good one for the
What?
message. Back in my day, we didn't have this fucking stupid Disney shit. We had all that. We liked it. We loved it.
Oh my god. All that was great.
They brought it back.
Did they?
They're bringing it back, and they're having a lot of the original cast come back for the show.
Nice.
They just did like a skit with the librarian that's real loud, but she's quiet. They make the smallest sound.
Mm-hmm.
They brought that. They had to have that on the internet, and they showed it.
Nice.
It was like a new one. I was like, oh yeah, there's so many memories.
And then there was the Amanda show, which wasn't as good.
No, the only thing that was good was because Drake Bell, totally Kyle, totally.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think I've ever heard anything from Amanda. Nobody. Back in my my day, Epic made a damn fine engine, not a fucking what
every single time.
Jesus Christ.
You couldn't have left that at Fox Den 2 hours ago.
Oh my.
3 hours ago now.
Back in my day, parents weren't a bunch of fucking pussies when it came to Mortal Kombat. We wanted to see the fucking blood. We liked it. We loved it.
Back in my day, you could turn the blood on and off, even if your parents did first. That's how you trigger Rockstar and Chet in one fell swoop.
I didn't trigger. I was laughing my ass off. Back in my day, Vass, let me fire shots at what I want.
Oh my god.
Oh god, I'm fucking dying.
What?
Back in my day, it didn't take me. No, I was gonna make something funny, like make fun of like AOL.
Back in my day, you couldn't use the phone and the internet at the same time.
Or you get the
yeah. Or if you're using the internet, you would hear the conversation of whoever was on the phone through the computer.
Oh god. Back
We
in my
love you.
day,
Sure you do.
Back in my day, kids shows on Cartoon Network were a lot fucking better than this stupid shit they have on now. We liked it. We loved it. Not even fucking joking. Some of the nurses who I work at have to bring their kids to work, and they leave them in the break room, and there's a TV in there.
Mm.
And they're watching like Disney and like Nickelodeon Cartoon Network, and I cannot fucking watch a show for more than 2 seconds. This is fucking total garbage.
Invader Zim is infinitely better than SpongeBob. Invader Zim is great.
They're bringing it back on Netflix and Rocko's
Yeah, I
Modern
heard.
Life. Fucking cannot wait. I love those shows. Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life. The fucking Invader Zim was awesome. The only reason why I got canceled, how dark it was.
Mm-hmm. It's too dark for a kid show. Well, then don't make it a kid show.
Put it on. They should have fucking put it on late. They moved it to later at night. They didn't day even. You had to go wait until like 9 o'clock at night, which is when most little kids went to bed. No, if they had known the guy, the creator, Javier's original, his comic book he wrote, fucking Jeff the Homicidal Maniac.
What? I didn't know about that.
No, hold on. I don't think it's called Jeff. Hold on a second. My cousin Thomas has the comics, and I've read them, and they're fucked up.
Jeez.
Well, not as fucked up as that one manga I own that we talked about.
Oh.
I do not want to talk about
that one.
The Fragments of Horror by Junichi Ito, which I want to do a guest episode based on his work once I get more of his books. Oh, not Javier. Juan. I cannot pronounce his fucking name. Juan Vasquez.
Juan Vasquez.
It's Johnen.
Johnen. Onan? I don't know.
Maybe. No, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Wow.
Yeah. Series tells the story of a gentleman named Johnny C. He explores the psychological natural forces which compel him to commit a string of murders, with which he always seems to get away with.
Wow.
And there's a spin-off called Squee. Series focuses on a small pod, Squee, an introverted and bullied little kid with less than subordinate family. Squee has been forced to mature a bit more quickly than his peers. He's fond of writing, but also only receives criticism from his teacher and taunting from his classmate in attempts he makes to deflect these hostilities and result in being shoved into the turd of otherwise further humiliated. Squee's mother's addicted to some pill and Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Zonin Vasquez. Oh, okay.
Zonin. Yeah, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Comic books he wrote before he did Invader Zim, but the artwork is still the same. Funny enough, his Wikipedia picture was taken of him, and when he crashed a party, somebody took a picture of him. He crashed some person's party. But yeah.
So not Joe, not Zo. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Jonan Vasquez.
It's about it. Okay, that ends. Two old bastards that bitch about stuff because we just ended up talking about 90s stuff, so it'd be like, alright, you know what? I got one more. Back in my day, kids didn't listen to fucking Little Peep. We listened to fucking Gangster's Paradise like real men. From the musician my brother listens to. Oh my god, I don't like speaking about the dead because the guy actually died. But it's like rap, but it's like emo music because it's just like
what?
I don't know. They apparently there's no category for what kind. It's rap, obviously, but it's like really slow. It's like loving you.
Oh, he's one of those mumble rappers.
No, not mumble. But it's like really slow rap, but it sounds like emo. Like every emo band, like cut my wrist, watch them bleed. That was every emo band. I listened to bands in high school, and I don't listen to them anymore as much. I mean, I listen to anyway. We'll talk about that maybe in another episode of you. But yeah, I disagree. Real men headbang to Meshuggah, not this hippity hoppity bullshit.
Back in my day, we listened to talented shitty boy bands, not talentless overproduced shit bands.
Yeah, we listened to NSYNC, not fucking One Direction.
Backstreet Boys.
Oh my god. It's funny that Joey Fatone. I think out of all of them, Justin Timberlake's the only one who's still.
There's a difference between the two? No.
No. The 90s is just any boyfriend. Just get a bunch of hot guys and one guy that's like 5 years older than the rest of them.
Yeah, right.
They just give them each a personality and their boy band and auto-tune. That's it.
It's like the American Dad episode where they created a boy band.
It's like every fucking episode of any show that they create a boy band. Even South Park did it. You always have the one who has a goatee, one who's like the pretty boy, the emotional boy, the boy who's like the class clown, and then you got the guy who's just fucking too old to be in a boy band. That's every boy band. Oh god. I guess that wraps everything up. We've talked about so much and it lasted 2 hours.
Yeah, right. I didn't expect it to last 2 hours.
I expected it. I did.
One has a goatee, one has frosted tips, one's the pretty boy, one's the bassist.
Yep. Pretty much. This is real music. Oh, is it that song Vass told me about a pirate on a fucking acre?
Oh my god. Pirate metal, yes.
Yeah, there's a song Vaslin told me about that it's, there was a long, text thread about it that he was dying laughing. Because I listen to the song and about a pirate on a fucking anchor, and I'm like, okay, so you want me to listen to fucking, Johnny Depp with really bad teeth and smelling like shit, fuck a giant metal anchor, yeah. That's great imaging in my head that I want to see. No, it's one of my favorite songs from Fit for an Autopsy. For an autopsy? Like when you cut... okay.
I don't know, I haven't heard it either.
I don't know either. I might. I don't know.
Don't click that. It's an Earthcore caveman drop Q death metal.
No, look, the only death metal I listen to is Death Clock.
Death Clock is Death Clock.
No. Nor it's good. Alright. So, everybody, thanks again for coming out to the first episode of the Apollicast. We talked about our favorite podcasts. Again, if you missed any of the podcasts we mentioned, definitely check in the highlights later on. You know, any podcast you're very interested in, go ahead and definitely give them a look. Either if you have an Apple product, you can listen to it on the podcast app that comes with the Apple product, or Stitcher. And there's another app that my aunt told me about that can do podcasts and has greater audio. I can't remember the name of it. It might have been Stitcher, actually. But I'm going to ask her again tomorrow. Maybe I'll tell Vaslin and she might mention it. And tune in next week for another Rockstar Vaslin Borderlands adventure and another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll be back with the podcast in 2 weeks. If you guys have anything you want us to discuss, any ideas for next week's episode or anything like that, in my Discord, there's a podcast ideas channel. Just post your stuff there. We may have guests on the show later on.
Leviathan Chronicles creator.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Thank you all for hanging out. We both appreciate it.
Yes.
We've got enough support that we're going to continue. For sure. This was fun.
This was really fun. This was the testing the waters, so we got a lot with it, so that's good. If you want to keep up to date of what the topic's going to be ahead of time, before we do the episode, hours before the episode airs, definitely like the Polyan Facebook page and the Twitter page.
Check my social panel below the stream. It's all there.
Because it'll tell you what we're going to talk about. And
seriously, listen to the damn song.
This song is based on its... Alright, maybe. I'm going to bed. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right.
I'll probably listen to it. Anyway. So, we'll talk about different things. When it comes to, manga and anime, we might just kind of talk about a single one, and then do the anime both together. So just talk about the manga and then the anime, because if we're gonna do that, it's gonna be together, even if we try so hard. We usually pick a topic that we're into, or something we know, or maybe something we don't know. Again, trying to think of stuff. I'm trying to think of... Maybe we'll do a Halloween ghost stories. Towards Halloween, like a ghost stories episode. We'll talk about ghost stories.
I kind of want to do a Godzilla episode.
I do too. So we're going to do that one later on, but I have to rewatch some of the Toho movies.
Yeah, I'm going to have to,
because
too.
It's been a very long time. We might talk about certain things, but again, I can think of ideas, but, me and Vaslin have to agree on it. because I can't talk about one thing that only I listen to, or I only like, and he's never seen. It will be like, okay.
Unless you give me like 2 weeks notice.
That's true, but if it's something like for Dead by Daylight, you've played the game a little bit, but you don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
Or what was the other one? Or again, the Junichi Ito stories, because I've read them and you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do want to do an episode on him, but we're gonna be I'm gonna be thinking about it tomorrow before I start my shift. I'll think about some ideas and let Vaslin know, and then we'll let all you lovely, and maybe, just maybe down the road, we can have that episode with the creators of Leviathan and just be fanboys.
Right.
It'd be we promise we won't be weird, but we might be a little weird.
But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. We both appreciate it.
Yes.
Come back next week. And we hope you all have a good night.
See ya.